People across the world now know what Rifflandia is. And it's this unique thing, and it's hard to define, and it's ever-changing, but it still is Rifflandia as tied to the city. You can't remove the two, they're connected.
It's a weekend of discovery, and I really think that's what's really fun, is you go out and you discover new bands, you discover new friends, you discover new local businesses, and you just kind of get involved in this amazing, creative, sharing time.
To have this festival in our own city, it's just unparalleled.
Rifflandia, a weekend of discovery. But what exactly is it, and how does it all come together? Well, in this series, we'll take you behind the scenes, a backstage pass, if you will, and explore everything that goes into creating a cultural event like Rifflandia. The food, the art, the community, and of course, the music. But first, what is Rifflandia?
Well, I'll say that it was inspired by early visits to South by Southwest. Anyhow, it was just a really interesting experience to go down there at that point and experience a multi-venue festival. But I really saw the potential of a festival to transform a city. And so fast forward another 5-6 years, I was attending a lot of festivals around the world in cities that had very similar size to that of Victoria. And I just started to think to myself, I think we can pull this off. And the vision had to be quite small to begin with, and you had to be okay with that. It wasn't, oh, let's start with 50 venues and 10,000 people. No, we started with 5 venues and whatever it was, we sold I think 1,000 tickets or something, and it was great.
When it first started, they couldn't get huge headliners like the Flaming Lips. It was just, something we were starting out with, with the idea of sort of a South by Southwest thing, with the wristbands, and just the excitement of going from venue to venue.
I love walking around town and seeing groups of people venue hopping and the community that surrounds that. I just always think it's really neat to see how it honestly takes over the town, and people are just, I don't know, it's really cool. I feel like everyone just feels like they have the key to the city and they're just walking around and it's like, oh, I just get to hop in here, I get to hop in there, so it's neat.
In 2008, which was year one, Rifflandia launched with 65 bands and 7 venues throughout the city. By purchasing a single wristband, festival goers could have access to all 7 venues, and they could hop from location to location depending on their mood, who was playing, and what their friends were doing. As Rifflandia grew in popularity, so did its size and scope. So in 2011, Rifflandia took over Royal Athletic Park for the first time, creating a daytime event which brought families, all ages shows, food, beer, art, and music all into one location.
It's been a wonderful event to see it start its infancy from its concept stage, go through conception and actually see the delivery of the baby, and truly a bouncing baby that's growing up. Because it really is a bit of a 7-year-old dancing around, it's a fun thing to see.
The original vision for Rifflandia was a multi-venue, scalable festival model where you could just keep growing it infinitely, provided there was space available and demand for tickets. You're getting out and you're creating venues. And I think that the go-to existing venues in Victoria were our first thought and first ones to be developed. And then from there, it was try and go use spaces uniquely. So whether it's little galleries or even how we use the atrium space now. And I think the park really came a little late, sort of in year 2, year 3-ish. We started thinking about it because our biggest venue at the time was 1,000 people, and it was lined up the block. So we said, what are we going to do?
What they did was take a leap of faith by hosting a daytime event in a park in the heart of downtown in the middle of a residential neighborhood. It was a gamble, but what it did was elevate the festival from just a nighttime event into a showcase of arts and culture, a cross-section of the best Victoria has to offer.
I got asked, 5 to 6 years ago when we were wrapping up our tenure producing the Folk Fest, I got asked, when's Folk Fest coming back? And I said, it's come back, it's already back. And everybody was like, what is that? I was like, it's Rifflandia. Rifflandia is our new Folk Fest. Rifflandia speaks to a new generation of music lovers. And so Rifflandia is the new folk festival for this region. It is what we're all identifying as being a representation of our culture and the most interesting aspects of our culture.
One of the first years that they had the main park really changed the game. It made it a completely different festival from what had been happening before, where it was many nighttime venues, many diverse venues around town. And it really gave it a central hub. And it opened up the opportunity for them to do something that was really a lot more festival-like, a lot more large-scale festival.
By building a more centralized hub, the organizers of Rifflandia were able to feature a sampler of what Victoria has to offer, and it was all in one location. And our foundations turned to dust.
When you see the setup, you see the stage, you see the giant Philips installation, all of the food trucks, everything associated, you stand back and say, wow, this is a real festival. This could be going on in any great city in the world, and here it is right here in Victoria.
I think if we can make people see Victoria in a different light during the festival, I think that's really interesting to be like, hey, you can take this place and turn it into this crazy venue and it's awesome, And we can get a whole bunch of people in Victoria together and excited and enthusiastic, I think that's great. Victoria's a pretty amazing city.
Royal Athletic Park, or The Park, as it's known in Rifflandia's shorthand, has become a cornerstone of the festival. It's a chance to see everything together, all the greatest aspects of a thriving city doing something really cool.
It wasn't a venue that had a distinct identity, which I think it now does. I think if you've been to Rifflandia at Royal Athletic Park, you realize, you get it, you understand that what is essentially an open public space can become something as unique and with such an identity that Rifflandia has given it. You see it now. All it takes is an hour on site when everything is rolling at Rifflandia to really get how good of a venue that is.
Over this series, we're going to show you some of the moving pieces that make up Rifflandia and how a simple idea for a music festival has grown to become a major cultural event. Great food, great beer, and great fun. Next time on Rifflandia TV.